Welcome everyone to WSA Snocross on the Outdoor Life Network. First stop of 10 on the WSA Snocross Worldwide Tour. We're just off the shore of Lake Superior in Duluth, Minnesota. It's the Duluth Skidoo Nationals, and you want to talk about a perfect day. It's cold, it's sunny, and you can smell the two-stroke in the air, Greg Kramer.
It is beautiful indeed, absolutely gorgeous weather. The one thing to be a little concerned about, maybe those winds. It's going to be gusty a little bit. We'll keep an eye on that. But we're ready to go, and this is, I think, our second round, the third heat of Pro Stock qualifying, Robbie. And you can see the lineup there. Lots of rookies have come in this year as we go green.
A lot of new talent, a lot of new rides. It looks like an Arctic Cat is out in front. The 67 of Ryan Simons showing how to get that hole shot.
And that is exactly what I was talking about. Ryan Simons, there's a new rule in WSA this year that the top semi-pro riders can actually elect to run Pro Stock along with Semi-Pro Open just to see how they stack up as a pro and having a good job. And this is the battle for second right here. Again, two cats.
Carl Allard in the second spot. Curtis Crapo, number 9 in the third. Arctic Cats battling out 1, 2, and 3. And it looks like Earl Reimer starting to stick a nose in there. Reimer dives to the inside, and I like that. You're seeing multiple lines. Multiple lines means multiple passes.
Absolutely, and you made a couple of comments that we're going to be getting used to this year if you've watched WSA Snocross before. Earl Reimer on a Skidoo and Kurt Crapo on an Arctic Cat. A couple of huge changes. Seeing Kurt out there on that Team Woody's cat, they'll be different. He used to run for Team Red for many, many years, but he got picked up by the Arctic Cat factory, and they're looking for big things out of Kurt.
Curtis Crapo, the older of the two Crapo brothers. We'll see his brother Sean here in just a moment, but Arctic Cat showing the way, and look at this step down, a very big jump. Earl Reimer moves his way into the number 3 spot, but this is a big air track. Duluth is tight, it's compact, but a lot of air.
Tremendous amounts of air. You're going through the double left-hander hairpin. There's a big gap jump and then a huge section of monster moguls. And look at Reimer, got a run on Crapo right there. That inside line, he found a smooth lane and was able to pick up second spot.
Moving into the number 2 spot, but there's still one rider in front. Ryan Simons showing how to get it done, slamming into the face. And that's not what you want. You want to be smooth. Takeoffs smooth on the downside, and when you're clapping the face of those jumps, that's not a good thing because you're slowing yourself down.
Well, Ryan Simons is going to have to just learn the ropes just a little bit here. He's an ultra-fast semi-pro, and he's already proven this weekend in some other events that he is very, very fast. But experience comes into play, and here's that huge drop jump. I mean, you climb it up to the wall. You see the signal there, 2 laps to go. Okay, you come off that thing, you're just scaling. Oh, what a move there by Reimer.
Simons takes the nose out right there, though. Reimer drops back to second. Look at them. They don't know where to go. Reimer says, outside looks good to me. Simons is going to be set up for this inside turn, but man, he's out of control. Oh, no. Don't stick your nose in there unless you want to get it chopped off, Greg. What happened?
Well, it looked to me like actually Reimer was sort of on the edge, and that's the way Earl likes to ride, and he went outside, but it didn't work because Simons moved right just a little bit top of the wall. It was an interesting development, but boy, some great battling, and that puts Kurt Crapo up into second. He's an opportunistic rider. When he gets an opportunity like that, he's not going to miss.
The Woody's Arctic Cat into the number 2 spot, and he won his earlier heat race, so he's very consistent. Again, you want to come inside that top 10, get that direct transfer into the final. But boy, Simons looks good and takes the checkered flag, and that is going to be it for this heat. And boy, what a race. What a great way to start the year off on OLN and WSA Snocross.
Absolutely. Simons, the young rookie with a big win, and Earl Reimer comes up through the pack, actually goes to the lead, but ends up in third. Let's go back and take a look at what happened. He's already popped outside, but right there, Simons, a little squirrely, scoots him off to his right where Reimer was going to be. Reimer gets pushed up and over that huge berm, has to put the foot out. Momentum is dead right there, and right there, Crapo sneaks by, and underneath, here's a look at this young future star.
So the Arctic Cat of Ryan Simons takes a win. We expect big things in the final from our rookie from Canada. This presentation of WSA Snocross on OLN is brought to you by Ford Trucks, built Ford Tough. The visions of Earl Reimer still flowing through the air here in Duluth, Minnesota. It's the Skidoo Duluth National, the first stop of 10 of the WSA Snocross Worldwide Tour. Welcome everybody to Duluth for one of many Snocross shows, we're going to be bringing you a 10-stop tour, and it all starts here in Duluth. We're going to be covering two different classes, the 440s, the Pro Stock, as well as the Pro Open, the big boys, the modifieds. We're going to crown two champions, Greg Kramer, at the end of the year, and I'm ready for some exciting action. 2003 was a good one, but 2004 is going to be even better.
I think 2004 is going to be a great one. The reason is, one of the dominant riders from the last few years, Tucker Hibbert, is retired. The other one, Blair Morgan, still not 100% from some motocross injuries from the summer. That has resulted in a lot of drivers switching teams. We've got parity, and it's unbelievable. The fields are so deep, and so many more riders, Robbie, are going to be in with a shot at a podium, a second, maybe even that win, that championship chase in both classes, going to be close.
Great competition, a great track here in Duluth. It's tight, it's compact, it's Duluth.
It's your classic Duluth track in a small area, but make no mistakes, it is brutal. It all starts with an uphill start line right at the steepest part of the track and a short run into a crucial corner up to the top of the wall. Then you make a left and you go over one of the biggest flyaways you're going to see all season. Down by the finish line, you're not done. A huge tabletop there, then into a double left-hander, we call it the hairpin. And coming out of that, there are canyons in the track that you have to either go through, down and through that slope, or air it out over them. The guys that get those lines figured out, they're the ones that are going to be at the front at the end of the races today.
Well, as you can see, it's a great course here in Duluth. Let's take a look at qualifying after round 1 and 2. If your last name's Crapo, you are loving things. A great point total going into round number 3, trying to make your way into that final. And remember, heats add up to points, points add up to that national championship.
And as we take a look at the lineup, keep in mind Blair Morgan was well back in that order. He is still not healthy. You don't see that very often.
Round number 3 of qualifying heats. Again, we see Curtis Crapo in the Arctic Cat. He has inside position, and he's going to take the whole shot. Again, now how come we're seeing Curtis Crapo with a different group of riders in another heat?
Because exactly of that round-robin format. There are 3 rounds of qualifying, multiple heats per round. You accrue points in each one. Kurt now in the 3rd round, and it's designed so that by the end of the 3 rounds, you've raced against pretty much everybody in the class to give a real, true feeling of where qualifying is and where you stand.
Ryan Duncan, he stands out in front right now. He's looking good, takes over inside position. Again, you want to make those passes on the inside, push everybody wide. You know you've really done something if you go around the outside, the long way around these athletes.
Well, that's very true. I mean, the inside, the classic block pass, very popular, but sometimes that outside line is quicker. It gives you more entry speed into the turn, and if you can get your nose in front at that point, one of the real laws of physics about snowmobile racing is if your skis hit the track of the guy behind you, as Crapo's making a big move here, if your skis hit the track of the guy in front of you, you're the one going down.
Oh, we almost had a rider down right there. Curtis Crapo takes over the lead, and just a case of going a little bit too wide. But boy, Johnny DeMole's starting to move up now on the outside, taking a totally different line, blowing out the face of that jump, and Mole moves into 2nd spot.
Yeah, right around Duncan, and the thing is you can follow somebody only until you catch them, and then you better find a different line. And that's what makes the great drivers great, is finding that line. Mole found a beautiful one outside, used it to great effect. But getting back to Curtis's pass, he was able to come up on the inside, and he was far enough inside that when they bumped, Kurt was going to win that battle. Now watch Mold right here. He went outside, and look at him, comes right alongside Crapo.
Johnny Mold on the outside. Now he's going to try and dive in. Can't do anything right there. The Pine City, Minnesota native drops back, or he's back in that number 2 spot, but he is all over Curtis Crapo. Crapo kind of running middle of the road right now. He doesn't know where to go. Too far inside. Might be a mistake.
Boy, see Mold go outside there, and then he landed awkwardly, it got squirrely, and he couldn't get the throttle on, and it really blunted what he was doing at that point. But this is a great deal here, right here, Robbie, because Crapo, one of the out-and-out factory boys, huge backing. Johnny Mold, a true independent. He basically is run by a little paving company, and he's sticking with Kurt Crapo.
With the Woody's Arctic Cat out in front. And Crapo does look good, but Johnny Mold is getting everything he can handle on the Skidoo right now in the number 2 spot, number 280. Now watch this line here. I like the way he takes this outside line, and he hugged at that. So Crapo went to school right there. He says, you are not getting by me on that outside smooth line.
Well, right, twice now. Mold had shown the nose and come along the outside. inside. Kurt's a smart rider and said, that's a good line. I'm going to take it. Make Johnny try and get creative. Interesting story here too, Robbie. Both these guys were injured last year. Both had leg injuries, knee injuries, and both are back and clearly very, very healthy. And for Johnny, this is a huge year because he was injured the last 2 years when he went pro. Never really put up the performances he's capable of. And a second to Crapo here. What a great run.
A 4, a 6, and a 2 equals 12 points. A good finish for Johnny Mold. He's going to be on the cusp of making that final. But Curtis Crapo, another win. He already has one for the first round and a second in the second round. Well, some great action in WSA Snocross, but we're missing launching Levi Lavallee. Where is he? Well, we'll let you know when we come back.
I was riding dirt bike out in the desert, scattered off a double and dislocated my wrist.
Well, it's time for the Pro Stock Final here in Duluth, Minnesota. Justin Tate having a problem with the Amsoil Polaris.
Yeah, they've got that sled up on its side. You can see they're working furiously on that left front suspension. Blair Morgan, he is not healthy. Big motocross crash in the summer, broken back, broken ankle, badly compound, and he is still not 100% by any stretch.
He qualified number 4, though. Don't count him out. He did finish 13th last year here, though. Had some bad luck. All right, Justin Tate got it fired up. But again, it's in your head maybe a little bit also.
Yeah, he's rocking that sled back and forth, so just trying to sense, is it fixed? Because, boy, you start airing it out over a huge jump like that, you want to be healthy.
Welcome back, everybody, to Duluth. It's the first stop of 10 of the WSA Snocross Worldwide Tour. It is the Ford Pro Stock Final, and we have 15 riders, 14 laps, and who's going to come out on top the very first race of the year?
Well, it's really wide open. That's the neat thing because of what we talked about earlier. Morgan's not healthy, Hibbert's not here, and a great field here. And as we take a look at the lineup, remember, 10 up front, those are the top 10 after the 3 rounds of qualifying, and then the back row, the second row of 5, they came from a last chance qualifier. No points in that last chance qualifier, and we are green, Robbie.
Underway, looks like Skidoo out in front. Is that Earl Reimer with a good start?
It's actually Brad Pitlick, I believe, and I'll tell you, that has been his forte. He's about 130 pounds wet, and when he hits the hammer on these sleds, he explodes off the line. But behind him right now, huge throng, and it's Crapo and Tate.
Not too bad for having mechanical difficulties. Tate up in the mix right now. But you're right. I thought it was Rimo. His Skidoo was doing well all day, but Pitlick, look at the battle. They are banging bars already.
That was a huge hit. That was number 3, Sean Crapo, coming up, and Ibsen was involved in that, and I think 41 Allard, and we have a new leader. Or do we?
Pitlick trying to hold that inside line. He knows if he gets half of his sled even with Crapo, he has a chance, but no chance right now. Is Crapo out in front of Pitlick and another Arctic Cat in the 3rd spot. Boy, look at them starting to, I think, spread out, but no, they're just banging bars.
Yeah, there's just a lot of banging going on top of the wall here. And here we go, and Tate has dropped pretty much out of the picture. That's Ibsen, and Tate's back to 5th. So maybe that sled's just not quite yet where he needs it or wants it. And there's Morgan back in 9th. And I'll guarantee you, Robbie, Morgan right now is being very careful. He can ride very quickly by himself. He had success in one of the qualifying heats when he was alone. But this banging and crashing, that's where Morgan's got to be very careful.
He's trying to work his way up, and he's doing it as smooth as possible. That bad back, the bad leg. He is like riding on a pillow right now. He does not want to face any jumps. It's a long series. Trevor John, you take a look at him right now, number 85. He's right, it looks like the number 7 position. And this is a long race, too. Don't count anyone out. You have plenty of time working your way up.
Yep, 14 laps. And as a matter of fact, there's, right there, Pitlick, he got, and that's one of the things, these sleds now, they're moving the rider up forward. They're getting so much weight on the skis as Ibsen airs it out to the inside. It makes the tail end a little happy sometimes if you hit wrong. And boy, Ibsen, beautiful pass, inside line, he's 2nd.
right, we got Ibsen just in front of Sean Crapo, Brad Pitlick just behind him. You notice the new line on the outside now. You want a triple. It's almost like a supercross. They're getting good rebound off that suspension, and you're not having to worry about the next jump in front of you because you're jumping over it.
That's right, and I'll tell you, the guy who's normally the master at that is Morgan, and he's trying to come after Carl Allard, and Allard just got a run on Pitlick. But Pitlick dropping off badly. Look at Morgan. Oh, he almost came off.
Oh, Blair Morgan, and I alluded to it just a moment ago, now riders starting to work their way by him. He had a bad year last year. He qualified very well, but he finished 13th out of 14. This year we have 15th riders, and he's working his way back through the pack.
Yeah, Morgan last year had a real bad weekend here in Duluth in pro stock. But, boy, I'll tell you what, injured or not, he is up to 5th, and Pitlick's off.
One of our early leaders, the guy who was out in front, Brad Pitlick, the man who had our whole shot, trying to restart that Skidoo. And speaking of Skidoo, Blair Morgan, trying to look good out here in Duluth, injured and all. You got to give him some props. You got to give him credit working his way up the 5th.
Tremendous credit, knowing how bad he's hurting right now. But talk about credit. How about Ken Ibsen? I mean, he led a large part of this race last year and had it taken away late in the going, and he's back out in front again and is racing incredibly well. Better than I've seen him all weekend long. Ken Ibsen has looked like the Ken Ibsen of old and looking very strong, and that's Chris Kafka.
Chris Kafka having some sled problems. It's a battle of attrition out here. No one wants to keep their sled going. And now, Morgan's starting to work his way up. He knows he has the time to do it, but is he going to be able to get Allard? Allard's not just going to give up that position.
And now the leader, that's Ibsen right there, and that Woody's Cat working some lap traffic, that's Pitlick. And one of the things about Morgan is he can still air it out, because Morgan, better than anybody in the world, can land from the big jumps, feather light. And it's really good for his back and his ankle that he can do it. But we saw what happened when he got into traffic and got banged around. That's the problem. And he's got, here's Ibsen, and he's got a nice lead built up. I'll tell you, Ken Ibsen looks truly like the Ibsen of old. He is back.
He is back in a big way, Antioch, Illinois rider, and Curtis Crapo and Sean starting to paddle out. The battle of the Crapo, Sean being the younger brother, but it looks like Curtis, who's a little bit quicker. Look at that big air.
Nice move on the outside by Sean. He followed Kurt, and look at that, being brotherly love there. He wasn't going to squeeze him, but you can see Sean working some different lines, looking for a way. Kurt running the inside. That means Sean's got to do something, get outside, see what he can do. And you can see Kurt really had the advantage there. But look at that move underneath.
Driving to the inside. No, still can't do it. I'm telling you, Curtis Crapo has the better lines. You can jump high, wide, do it all, but if you have a better line, you've got to make something happen, though. I like the multiple lines.
I do, too, but I think what Sean was doing, oh, and look at Tate, hand in the air, and I think maybe that earlier problem has come to roost. He may have broken something in the suspension again, and you know who that moves up into the top 4? This guy right here, Blair Morgan.
Blair Morgan moves up to 4th, but watch out, here comes Mike Island. Island on the outside. Morgan, it looked like he was just backing off right there. Island just drove around on the outside. I mentioned, when you go around the outside, you're really making it happen.
Oh! Morgan just came down very awkwardly in one of those whoops back there. And, I mean, he got racked sideways off the sled, and that had to have hurt. Ankler back, and Crapo, Sean Crapo's on.
Crapo was out in front earlier. He was all the way up into the number 3 spot. Now he's trying to refire his sled. He moves back. So now it looks like Curtis Crapo is going to be in the 2nd position outright. Mike Island, Blair Morgan still going at it. And I love the way Mike Island took the inside line, but yet still outside of Blair Morgan.
Well, absolutely. And what we saw there was that Morgan normally would have fought that tooth and nail, and he just let Island go because he's so leery of getting into contact. It's unbelievable the run he's put on here, Morgan has. But Mike Island, of course, 2 years ago here in Duluth, he made his pro splash and has been one of the absolute top stars ever since.
2003 Deadwood Pro Stock champion. You see that right there. Let's run down our list. Ken Ibsen out in front of Curtis Crapo. Michael Island into 3rd now, trying to move his way up. Blair Morgan up to 4th, and Carl Allard. But in taking the first win of the year is Ken Ibsen from Antioch, Illinois on the Arctic Cat, showing how to do things. Crapo, that is Curtis Crapo in the number 2 spot, in Arctic Cat looking good, taking 1 and 2. Michael Island on a Skidoo taking 3rd. How happy is this man right here?
Ken Ibsen has got to be absolutely lit. It is basically his first win in over 3 years after that horrific injury. Unbelievable story for Ken Ibsen. And here's the final result.
Ken Ibsen starts 2004 in a very big way, takes the first win in the Pro Stock, followed by Curtis Crapo, Mike Island, Blair Morgan, and Carl Allard, the Canadian, rounding out the top fives. Ken Ibsen, he has got to be one happy camper, and he's down with Jerry Bernardo. How happy is he, Jerry?
How happy are you? I mean, I know you got that big smile, man. Come on, this is a huge win, great way to start off the new season.
It's the happiest I've ever been racing. I won a Pro Open final back in 2000 in Gaylord, and I think this tops it here. So.
Congratulations. Good to see you on the podium, buddy.
Thank you, Jerry. Thank you.
Ken Ibsen jumps his way into the first win of the year and effectively into the Pro Stock Point Series lead. But that's it for the Pro Stock. Now it's time for the Pro Open, the Modifieds, the Bad Boys. And one of the bad boys out there, Tommy Amasalo, you know this is a big air track. You've got to jump those triples. Are you up to the task?
Yeah, this is track where you have to jump those big triples, and you have to do it. That's probably not the fastest way, but you have to do it.
You like sticking to the snow. You don't like that airtime, do you?
No, I really don't like the airtime, but because in the ground you can hit the throttle and you can go forward.
He might not like to do it, but he has no choice. The Pro Open when we come back. A little bit of track preparation here in Duluth, Minnesota. The first stop of the WSA Snocross Worldwide Tour is the Skidoo Duluth National. The second stop, the Canadian Open from Winnipeg, Canada. You can see it here on OLN Saturday, December 27th at 5 p.m. Eastern. Remember all the re-airs, OLNTV.com. You can find out more. Well, the Crapos, we're seeing different colors, different rides for these two brothers.
Ah, yes, the story of the brothers Von Crapo. It's a good one. With Tucker Hibbert retiring, they wanted to get some major players, and Sean made a big splash last year when he ran down Tucker right here in Duluth in one of the qualifying heats. I think that stuck with the Arctic Cat boys, and they went after Sean, and they had to get Kurt, one of the all-time greats.
Launching Levi Lavallee. He's not here in a racing sense, but he is here in attendance. Had a little problem with the throttle housing, with his wrist that is. He's on pins and needles, but Levi Lavallee, we'll find out more about him in just a moment. But first, everyone wants to check out Inside Cross with Greg Creamer, and it's brought to you by Ride FX, High Performance Shocks. Greg, what do you have for me this week?
Hi everybody, and welcome to Inside Cross. This is the part of the show where we hope to bring you inside the sport just a little bit, let you in on maybe some of those trick little secrets. A couple of years ago, Skidoo revolutionized the sport, particularly from the design standpoint of the snowmobiles, with this beast right here, the Rev. I mean, look at it. This thing looked, when it came out, like the future, and it truly has become. The lines of the sled are absolutely dynamic, but the performance is what shocked everybody. They made some serious changes to the geometry and the physics of the sled, and it allowed the riders to have immense control when the sled's in the air. The result? Skidoo, dominant for a couple of years now. That meant the other manufacturers had to step it up, and they have. At Polaris, it's really been more a case of refinement. The drivers last year said the sled was good. It was so close, it just needed a little bit. Well, they found it. First of all, they've changed the seat. Now, last year they had a seat that was already forward and up, just a little bit more of the same. Get those riders forward, give them the ability to control the sleds in the air. But the big step is the steering arm for the handlebars. It used to come in about here, and then they had to do risers to try and get the driver up in the air. Wasn't real effective. The bar shaft goes in over the top of the engine, and what it's done is it's moved the driver much more forward on the sled, got that CG more in the center of the sled, gave them the ability to really fly these things. It was a good sled, now made great. Over at Arctic Cat, the changes have been a little bit more extreme. They have done a little bit with the seat. You can see really a different look to the back with this bracing system, raising the back of the seat up, all intended, push that driver forward, get him upward. Same story with the handlebars. Used to enter here with the steering arm, now it comes in higher over the engine and down. Again, get those bars up, get the driver forward, make him able to fly that sled, but it sacrifices the corners because the center of gravity goes higher. Well, they've addressed that, and it's pretty trick what they've done. Forward of the bulkhead, they've actually taken the chassis itself and twisted it downward a little bit and given a lot more pressure on the suspension and skis. What that has done is allowed the sled to turn in much more efficiently into the turns, and as a result, This sled now not only controls well in the air, but boy, it turns in the corners, and this is the beast they're going after a championship with this year. Regardless of the attempts by the other manufacturers to step it up to reach the level of the bar set by Skidoo, the question still remains, when this thing goes to here, are they going to be up to it? We'll see.
We shall see as we take a look at the skyline. It's starting to get a little bit darker, a little bit windier, but perfect conditions for snowcross here at Spirit Mountain in Duluth, Minnesota. Great crowd turned out. It's stop number 1 in the WSA Snocross Worldwide Tour, Skidoo Duluth National. As we take a look at our lineup for qualifying, another heat race. You got to get into that final, but these points very important for that national championship.
This is second round qualifying, and it is crucial indeed. And Tomi Amasalo is the guy who got the whole shot, moves into the early lead. And as you talked about earlier with Tomi, he's not a big fan of the big air. He likes to get the power of that engine down to digging and getting him going forward. Believe me, the guy can air it out anytime he needs to. But when the track has just been groomed in particular, Tomi's magic.
Right, it is smoother, he likes it, it gets rough, it can cause you problems. Karl Shabisky trailing number 4 spot. Tomi Amasalo finished 6th here last year. A pretty good result. He's trying to do even better than that. You see that green flag waving? That means go. Everything is fine and dandy here in Duluth.
Yep, good shot of them down into the hairpin here, and we're watching. That is number 9, Kirk Crapo, Special K as they call him. Oh! Not special enough there. And you can see he went off of that big jump, and the nose went high, and he could not grab the brake, get the weight for it, get her down, and he wisely bailed. And so Tomi now has one less person chasing him in the terms of this guy, Kirk Crapo.
Well, Kirk Crapo having problems. TJ Gula moves up into the number 2 spot on the Polaris out of Vermont, and now he's starting to put some pressure. Amasalo on the outside, and it's Gula on the inside, clapping the bases. He's trying to set up that inside position, but Amasalo shuts the door.
TJ, an interesting story in terms of changing teams as well this year, Robbie. He's long been an Arctic Cat racer. He's got a factory Polaris ride this year to run WSA's Eastern Regional Circuit, Rock Mabel Racing. But because of Levi's injury, they asked TJ to come in, ride Levi's sled in some of the early WSA Snocross Worldwide Championship races to help accrue some points for the team. TJ doing a nice job, but he got it a little awkward there.
One man's misfortune is another man's fortune right there. TJ Gula, you mentioned, he's in that number 2 spot, and he looks like he's very acclimated to that sled, though. He looks very comfortable.
Well, TJ's a very, very talented rider. Of course, last year he came very close a couple of times. He's got an SWC win under his belt, and he's just going to be focusing on that Eastern Tour this year. But well, I tell you, this guy always turns it on big for Duluth.
Tomi Amasalo from Finland, your leader right now. This front straightaway, if you really want to, you can launch so far down that jump right there. Amasalo taking the low road, but it looked like Gula taking the high road.
Yeah, and you may have been a little confused. There was a yellow sled just in the side of the picture. That was Steve Taylor, his first year as a pro. And we'll talk more about him in a little bit. But Amasalo, I'll tell you what, this guy is so strong. His strength is as the track roughens up, while other guys like Morgans and those guys are airing it out. Tomi doesn't do that well, but he just pins it and hangs on through it, and sometimes it's very effective. And Mike Island, I mean, he's so good, and look at the gap that Amasalo put over him.
Mike Island can definitely pin it. Tomi Amasalo takes the win. That matches the win he had from round number 1. TJ Gula finishes 2nd. Karl Shabisky having problems on that last lap. Gula pretty happy with 2nd, I think, right now, because he knew he had a chance of taking Tomi there at the very end.
Absolutely, I think he'll be very happy. There's Karl trying to get that sled fired, and you see as he pulled on the pull cord, it just snapped back on him. I think he may have seized that engine right up.
Seize means dead motor. It is going nowhere. Curtis Crapo, he finished in the number 5 spot. He had some huge air. With huge air goes huge get-offs. The one-handed double face-hugger. More Snocross when we come back. Welcome back to Duluth. It's Spirit Mountain, the Skidoo Duluth National, the first stop of the WSA Snocross Worldwide Tour. We're missing one big name. Levi Lavallee. He's not racing this weekend, but the showman is here in spirit. Now tell me, what does Jerry Bernardo, a broken wrist, and Levi Lavallee have in common?
Levi loves St. Mary's in Apple Valley, California.
What are you doing here at St. Mary's?
Jerry brought me into the godforsaken desert again to go ride. We're out riding the dirt bikes. Crashed 3 times, and the third one was the one that counted. I either sprained my wrist real good, or it's a little thicker than this one.
Is this going to affect your soap opera career?
I think so.
The ladies love racers, and they love Levi. You remember last year here in Duluth, Minnesota, he got into a little bit of a tussle with Steve Taylor, and something had to give. Unfortunately, it was Levi.
What's Steven Taylor doing? Levi's ejected.
You've been training with Thomas the Wildman Denny. What did you do for 3 months in California?
All we did was run, jump, leap. My legs and my cardio are amazing right now. Mentally, he helped me a lot. I mean, because now I'm way more confident in my fitness, and I always knew I could ride a sled, just a matter of lasting through a whole race.
How much isn't it killing you, Lipa? Right here to look at all this beautiful snow, and you're not riding.
Killing me. I can't hardly sit and watch this. I'm out there just like tensed up, ready to get on the sled.
For you guys that are the competition to Levi Lavallee, his trainer Thomas has a little message for you.
You lose, well, one of these guys is going to come out a winner when we come back to Duluth.
That's okay, thank you!
Welcome back to more Pro Open racing here at the Skidoo Duluth National. It is qualifying time. We're at round number 3 in the Pro Open, the bad boys. These are the mods.
They are the big mods, up to 800 cc as you take a look at our lineup for this heat. 800 cc's, you can't exceed that. Pretty much anything else goes in terms of chassis or engine, unlike the stock sleds, which are just, as that says, stock. And a great hole shot again, and again it's by Ibsen.
Ken Ibsen out of Antioch, Illinois, out in front. And look at that first lap, just making it all the way down to the bottom. That's a triple or quadruple step down. It depends on how you want to look at him. And he takes advantage of that hole shot and tries separating himself from the rest of the field.
Yeah, it depends on how brave you are and how much you want to turn it into a double, triple, or quad. And there's a good look at DJ, Dennis Ekstrom, another guy coming off an injury. And he blew out an ACL last year late in the going. He looks to be back on form. You know, Ken Ibsen, we used to call him Mr. Hole Shot. It certainly looks like that's back. There's Noel Kohansky, Robbie. Big story there. Noel was part of the Warner team last year. They didn't re-sign him. And as we're watching here, Mike Island, who is one of the main drivers on that Bud Light sled for the Warner team, going after his young teammate, Steve Martin. The amazing thing about Noel is he landed a huge deal with Skidoo of Canada, thus the white sled.
You saw Mike Island moving into that number 4 spot. We're in Duluth, Minnesota, the first stop on the Snowcross Worldwide Tour. Mike Island's on his way up. Man, he's got to lean on it a little bit. I like this guy's style, though. He does give it a lot of throttle. He's not scared to air it out.
Oh, absolutely not. He really loves the air. That's what he showed 2 years ago when he made his big splash here. And he'll do whatever it offers up. And he's also a very smart racer. And he's one of the racers that understands sometimes an outside in is a quicker way to go than protecting the inside all the time. He really watches and learns what the track is offering up. And I just can't say enough about Ken Ibsen winning that Pro Stock final. This guy is finally back. The Ken Ibsen that we were all hoping was. Look at that. Just absolutely grace personified.
Ibsen is out in front. DJ Ekstrom in the number 2 spot. He's the Duluth, Minnesota native. Oh, what happened to Mike Island? Feet off. And does he take over a position?
It ended up working for him. It was an out-of-control move that resulted in a pass. Unbelievable.
What a great move there, getting by Noel Kohansky on the Skidoo out of Thunder Bay. And look at this battle for third right now. Mike Island and Noel Kohansky. Kohansky says, come on, I got something for you.
Yes.
Do not open that door for me, because I promise you, I'm going to take it down, double it up on the outside. He might try and shut the door on Island. Island is having problems with that inside line.
Yeah, well, the one thing about the revs is the back end of those sleds, because they turn in so well, get a little loose. And Noel, he saw an opportunity and he doubled and tried for it, Robin.
Kohansky tried tripling down, taking the white flag. We're on the last lap. Mike Island just ahead of Noel Kohansky. A little love tap right there. Mike Island, again, this is trying to move them into that final field, and a little loop out action right there. Yeah!
Again, Island on that inside line, just a wild man, but Noel cannot take advantage of it. Everywhere Noel wants to go, Island bounces in front of.
Ibsen, Ekstrom, and it's going to be Island Kohanski, your top 4, and Mike Island held him off, but Noel Kohanski, look for him in that final because he had a little something extra there. When we come back, we'll have our finals of the Pro Open. Better buckle that seatbelt, that lazy boy, the Pro Open final. Just a few moments. The WSA Snocross Worldwide Championship is being brought to you by Bud Light. With a great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light. Let's take a look at our qualifying results. 3 rounds. You have to get in the final. Here's how it shook down.
Well, Carl Kuster, Blair Morgan's teammate, picking up for that team. Look at that, undefeated, and an absolutely awesome job, and watch for him in this final.
Great conditions here in Duluth, the best conditions they've ever had. It's time for the big boys, the Pro Open.
That, folks, is the sound of horsepower, and lots of it. And I think Ken Ibsen did it again. And Island was right with him. Oh, they are side by side, Rob.
It is a drag race. Ken Ibsen coming out on top. Mike Island, though, not too fast for in second spot. Sticking a nose in there. And Island starting to get some pressure from the Amsoil Polaris.
DJ Ekstrom right there, and look at him triple out. Island almost came off.
That's what I expected. WSA Snocross in Duluth, first race of the year. They've been chomping at the bit, and now it's time to perform.
Boy, that back straight has been brutal for Mike Island, but it's always worked for him. He's lucked out. That time he lost a little bit of ground, and now he's got his work cut out for him. And Earl Reimer, oh my Lord, what a great story. Earl Reimer, the 35-year-old pro vet racer, back on Skidoo, team with Blair Morgan, and he is outrunning his teammate Carl Kuster right now.
Carl Kuster back in that number 5 spot. So you see Earl Reimer trying to work his way up. Ken Ibsen, the story has been, is a guy who couldn't win last year. Can he do it this year?
Oh, and look at Carl Shabinski coming right with Kuster. That's the battle for 5th, and I thought for a minute Carl had him. Not quite.
Mike Island, Earl Reimer now 3rd and 4th respectively. Look at this section. You have different options, and both riders have a little bit of difficulty. You see the low light. They're facing into that sun. And boy, this track is getting churned up, torn up. I like that.
Well, that's one of the things. There's a couple of spots here as we're looking at the battle for 3rd. That's Earl Reimer closing on Mike Island. What a ride for Earl Reimer. But coming up the hill, you're into the sun. But in other spots, it's all shadow, which means it's tough to spot those holes. Ooh, like that.
Almost off his sled right there. Island is just oblivious of what's going on behind him. You focus on what's in front, but Earl Reimer almost goes down right there.
And that's still Carl Kuster right behind his teammate Reimer. So Earl can't afford any of those mistakes here. And it's just amazing. Earl, as I said, he's 35 years old this year, first year eligible for Pro Vet. And he finds himself ultra competitive all weekend long. And you saw Ibsen, he's gone. But this battle for 3rd is huge.
Ken Ibsen, DJ Ekstrom in 2nd. Mike Island in 3rd. Earl Reimer in 4th spot. And we're taking a look at Mike Island again. Island in that number 3 position, but Reimer wants something of it. Look at him cross the line. He was set up for the outside, but you see how they can maneuver their sleds. He turned to the middle portion of the course.
Now let me give you a visual, folks. You saw how abrupt that jump was in the drop-off. They were approaching it blind, and Earl was willing to cross-jump it blind.
And remember, that's about a 3-story drop as well, ladies and gentlemen, with about 4 humps in between. So these guys are definitely gutsy out there. Mike Island, you see the difference between 1st, 2nd, and 3rd right now, but Ken Ibsen is just trying to run away.
Well, the interesting thing is Reimer's pace trying to run down Island is bringing both of them closer to DJ. They've definitely closed that gap up. There it is. And look at Reimer, way wide.
Wide and on the throttle to the outside. Earl Reimer's going to have a good drive. He's got to get down with the snow and hook up. Earl Reimer does make the pass. Island drops back another spot. Now Earl Reimer up to the number 3 position. The new ride is looking very good for Earl Reimer. Halfway through, you see the cross flag.
Cross flags, and it's Ibsen. There's DJ, but Reimer, and what he did, he went around the outside. He saw the problems that Island was having, that inside run up the hill. He went outside. But look at DJ. DJ sits in 2nd, and he's closing it up a little bit. Look at this.
DJ Ekstrom on that Polaris, the Amsoil Polaris, sticks a nose in, but no can do, not this time. Very good move. Don't do anything stupid, take you both out of the thing.
DJ is one of the smartest drivers. I've seen DJ plan passes for 2 laps, and he doesn't do stupid things. He doesn't make dumb mistakes. He knew that Ibsen was going to control that corner, and he said, fine.
Still plenty of time. DJ Ekstrom in that number 2 spot, the Amsoil Polaris, but he's trying to track down that Arctic Cat. Out in front is Ibsen, and boy, Ekstrom just really runs it in hard.
Watch him here, top of the wall, use that big berm to get the sled rotated, and then they're tripling now on that downhill, both of them. Gives you an idea of the zone they're in.
You have to triple, especially when you know that guy behind you will, because if he lands with all that momentum, he's just going to ghost you. He's going to say, adios, I'm gone.
And if he could turn around, DJ could, and see the eyes behind him. Earl Reimer is wild, crazy. They call him scrap iron for a reason. And as DJ closes on Ibsen, look at Reimer coming into it right there.
Earl Reimer also taking that very wide line. He takes that outside line, keeps the momentum up. Another thing to remember is lap traffic. There are, 15 riders out there? It was 14 last year. 15 riders that we're having to deal with here on a very tight course. That means that that leader comes into him first. He doesn't know what to do.
Absolutely. They added 1 rider from the LCQ this year, and it's going to play a difference. And here we go. Here is some of that traffic. That's 90 Pitlick, and Ibsen's closing on us.
Ibsen, you see Ekstrom starting to duck. How about that roost? Hell, it's just snow, right? It can't hurt. Yeah, you have it shot at you at 60, 70 miles an hour. You tell me how bad it doesn't hurt. DJ Ekstrom getting a face full there. But Earl Reimer, look at Earl Reimer taking that very wide outside line. I like that. He's changing it up.
Well, it worked before. That's how he got his run before on Island. Oh, we've got some traffic. There he gets by. And we got a yellow flag, too. That's Trevor John. Oh! Reimer just got him. Reimer got Ekstrom. Unbelievable.
Able to get by. Trevor John was down, maybe a little middle loss. But it is Earl Reimer on the throttle right now. How about this race, the first one of the year? You don't think their adrenaline's going right now, do you?
And Reimer's now coming after Ibsen. He hasn't given up on this one yet.
Why should he? He's moved up to second spot. Kent Ibsen was in this position last year, and it was Tucker Hibbert that took the win. Will it be Earl Reimer this year?
So Ibsen's got to be hearing doorbells, door knockers, anything right now, knowing he's got to be that close last lap.
White flag on the last lap. Kent Ibsen out in front. Earl Reimer in the number 2 spot. Reimer dives to the inside. Only a half the lap.
Bobble! Ibsen almost came off, Robbie.
But Reimer set up for the inside. Look at this. It's a drag race. Who wants it more?
He's got him! Oh!
Reimer has taken the lead with 1 straightaway. Ibsen, don't back off now.
The 35-year-old journeyman has gone huge!
And takes the win. This is one happy man, ladies and gentlemen. Look at him on the other end of that. Kent Ibsen has to be happy with second, but 2 years in a row, he was winning going into that last lap.
And Earl Reimer is going to absolutely milk this for every instance. This is, Robbie, his first over. Look at that. That's Morgan, his new team owner, as sore as he is, having some fun. And as I was going to say, this is also Reimer's first ever Snowcross Worldwide Championship Pro win. And this was the crucial minute. Right here's that battle for second with the 2 of them. Up here is Trevor John. Now look what Ekstrom does. He comes in, sees the yellow, he's got to back off. But Earl on the outside has to avoid Trevor. And here's what happened. It was pure luck, but it worked out. They're past Trevor, so they're now clear of that yellow zone. Earl squares. He gets to the trigger a little bit sooner. And as they come past Trevor, so they're clear of the no passing zone, watch that. Bang.
That was poetry in motion right there, ladies and gentlemen. Earl Reimer takes the win. Kent Ibsen is second. DJ Ekstrom, he worked back to the number 3 spot. Jerry Bernardo's down there with a very happy Earl Reimer.
Total skidoo mayhem down here with scrap iron Earl Reimer. First ever national win. Chased down Kent Ibsen to take the lead near the end of the race. You must be so pumped. Tell me what you're thinking right now.
This is incredible. I always believed, but until you actually do it, you never know. That's awesome. I don't know what to say.
Okay, when you came over the hill after you passed Kent, the crowd went mental.
That's awesome. The crowd here has always been good to me ever since back in the semi-pro days, and I appreciate it.
Congratulations, Earl.
Thank you.
Right on, man. Good job.
He was almost speechless right there. I mean, it still hasn't hit him yet. Just the accomplishment that he just performed, moving into that #1 spot, working his way up through the field.
Marcelian Bull from Skidoo congratulating his new star.
Earl Reimer takes the win in big fashion. Look at that. How far did he overjump that last hit? Because he said, nobody is catching me in these last few seconds.
And the team owner there to celebrate with him. I'll tell you, Blair is happy for Earl. Earl is a long time coming. He's done it.
Well, let's take a look at points for the pro stock division that you saw earlier. Curtis Crapo starts off the series out in front. Again, you get points from heats as well as the final. Earl Reimer, when you have good heats and you win the final, you're on top of the points lead.
And Earl is on top of the pack right now. So, and there's a little bit of the celebrating going on, the trophy. What a great way to kick off Snowcross on OLN.
1 down, 9 more to go here on OLN for Greg Creamer and Jerry Bernardo. I'm Robbie Floyd. We'll see you next time from Winnipeg.
It's too cold out.
Why don't you have a hat that covers your ears?
It's the adrenaline rush.
We're in Winnipeg where it's ice, so cold.
Little cold weather and I get to sit on my butt all summer long.
Cold. Snowcross is cool because you can stand on your fan. What are you guys doing? It's freezing.
Snow dust is cold. I'm not a big fan of cold weather. It's just so we can get together and have a good time.
Because it's here. You love Snowcross so much. Because it's here.
In case you haven't figured it out, it is very cold here at Assiniboia Downs in beautiful Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. It's the Canadian Open, the second stop of the WSA Snocross Worldwide Championship Tour. I'm Robbie Floyd with Greg Creamer, Jerry Bernardo down in the pits, and yes, it is really, really cold outside.
Yeah, I think Dean Martin was singing about this place when he said, baby, it's cold outside. It is intensely chilly here. Temperatures, they're looking at maybe 18 degrees for a high, and that's a maybe, but there's some pretty gusty winds out of the northwest. And this is the guy right here who obviously was the champion, Robbie, last year in both of the pro classes, but he is not healthy. That broken back and that severely broken leg, he's still on the mend.
Another guy to look for, number 8 on that Bud Light Skidoo, Mike Island. He's very fast. He seems to be good on the technical course.
Now, let's tell you about qualifying. It's a round-robin qualifying format. There are 3 rounds. Each rider will race 1 heat in each of those 3 rounds. Every time they race, they accrue points. Basically very easy. At the end of qualifying in those 3 rounds, the top 10 go right to the final. The next 10 go to the last chance qualifier for a shot at the back row.
All right, the Ford Pro Stock qualifying. You've got to get in that final first. And Blair Morgan, he finished 4th in Duluth in the Pro Stock final. But so far, he's perfect for the day. Perfect 1-1. He's trying to make it 3 wins in 3 different heats.
The whole issue for him is get clear of traffic. If he's clear of traffic, then he doesn't have any real problems. He can ride his race.
All right, you see the starter. Make sure everyone is lined up appropriately. When that flag goes up, it's time to get to racing here at Assiniboia Downs.
Morgan inside, and this is it. If he can convert, well, does he?
No, he does not. It looks like Justin Tate moves into the number 1 spot. The Amsoil Polaris in the lead on the right-hand portion of the track. And look at how rough this Winnipeg course is.
Oh, it is choppy out here. It's much bigger than it was in the debut last year, so the riders adjusting to that a little bit. A lot more snow, but right here you can see it is rough, it is choppy, it is whooped out, and Tate inside, and Island coming with him.
Mike Island on the Bud Light machine sticks a nose in, drops back, is Blair Morgan. He drops back to that 3rd spot, but he's not giving up. Look at him square up that inside.
Look at how he was able to get that sled to turn. And and that gives him the inside line, and he is coming right up behind Tate.
A really good rhythm in that section. He's also set up inside one more time on Tate. Not able to make the pass there. I think I see a little foreshadowing right there. Blair Morgan's in third, but he does not want to stay there for very long. He likes being out front, then pull away.
Well, exactly. With his injuries, he's a little nervous in traffic because then he's not in control. And that's the real key. What a sweet move there by Mike Island.
Just jumped his way into the number 1 spot. Mike Island, rider number 8, out in front. He jumped his way into the lead. Very aggressive move. And now Blair Morgan looks like he moves into the 2nd spot, dropping Tate back into 3rd, and there's still 6 laps remaining. Again, 8 laps in the heat races. Our final will have 16.
And that's the amazing thing. Again, Morgan was able to make that pass because in that last turn before the finish straight, he was able to get that sled to rotate on a dime, get the power down early, went right by Tate.
Bud Light Machine out in front, the Cold Wave, Blair Morgan Racing Skidoo in 2nd. All right, now let's see. You know Blair Morgan is riding injured. I mean, he wasn't even able to walk about a month ago. Now he's in 2nd spot. He was 4th in our 1st round, so he's still in that championship points battle for the stock class, of which he won last year, by the way. But it's amazing how this guy can compete at this level and be so injured.
Well, I mean, it is. They figure he's probably at about 80% strength. When you have a brace on your back for as long as he did and a cast on your leg, not only do you get muscle loss, you get aerobic loss. You know, you can't exercise like you want. So what he's doing is simply phenomenal here. And the fact that he's already won 2 of these heats tells you that when he's running his own race, he's still as fast as ever. Endurance is his question.
The Canadians out in front. Mike Island, number 8, ahead of Blair Morgan. Rider number 7C. And you're seeing two different riding styles also. Island's one of those slamming into the face of the jumps, and the number 7 of Blair Morgan has to ride smooth.
You saw Morgan go to the throttle, the back end stepped out just a little bit, but they've got their sled set up just a little bit differently. Island's pushing, see how it pushes?
Oh, and
Morgan able to get it turned underneath, Robbie.
He knew he was in trouble. You go that high, you've got to expect a veteran like Blair Morgan to stick a nose underneath and take the lead. So Blair Morgan out in front now. Let's see if Mike Island has anything with 3 laps remaining. He's taking a very aggressive outside line, and it cost him that time.
Now, he may be trying to think about railing underneath, but he can't. His sled is not turning like Morgan's. Now, Morgan is up front, and let me just get back to one thing real quick, talking about the endurance. These qualifying heats are probably more key than ever for Morgan, because at the end of the 16-lap final, which is what they're projecting for, his endurance may be in question, so it all comes down to getting points as early as possible.
Blair Morgan out in front, Mike Island in 2nd, Justin Tate in 3rd, Noel Kohansky in the number 4 position. Again, you accrue points through your heat, you try and make it to that final, and boy, it looks like Island having a problem right there, and now Kohansky gets pushed outside. Tate still holds on to the number 3 spot.
Boy, Noel is coming after him with a lot of aggression. This is a home race for Noel. He lives not too far from Winnipeg in Thunder Bay, Ontario, which isn't that far away, riding for Skidoo of Canada on the Evan Skidoo. This is a very, very big race for Golden Noel.
Take a look at Noel Kohansky. He's charging hard and wants to do well here in front of the hometown crowd, but it's all Blair Morgan right now as we're on the last lap of this heat of the Pro Stock Division. Blair Morgan, Mike Island, Justin Tate, and Noel Kohansky, your top 4 right now, and not giving up an inch is Noel Kohansky.
You see a little steam, it looks like, coming off of the front of Noel's sled. Not a problem because the bodywork on the top of the engine covers come off, and it's just a little snow dust getting on the hot cylinders and pipes. But there's Tate. I don't think Noel's going to get him.
Less than a lap remaining, and no more remaining for Blair Morgan. A little no-footer, able to style a little. You got to love that. The Freestyle King Blair Morgan takes the win. Mike Island on that Bud Light Machine is able to take 2nd spot. And coming across the finish line should be the Ansel Polaris of Justin Tate, Noel Kohansky in 4th. Well, Mike Island has to be happy in that heat race, but I do not believe that's enough to put him into the final. We'll have to see in LCQs. Blair Morgan is perfect for the day here in Winnipeg. This presentation of Snowcross and OLN is brought to you by Ford Trucks, built Ford tough. Blair Morgan showing how to get it done here in Winnipeg. Assiniboia Downs known to be a thoroughbred racing track, but horsepower is prevalent on the Skidoo here today. Welcome everyone to the 2nd stop of the WSA Snocross Worldwide Tour from Assiniboia Downs in Winnipeg, Canada. Hi, everybody. I'm Robbie Floyd with Greg Creamer and Jerry Bernardo. And as you can see from my wind here coming out of my mouth, it's cold here in Canada. But one guy who's not cold, who's really hot, matter of fact, has to be Blair Morgan. Now, you got to remember, this past summer, he was broken, had a broken leg, also a broken back. Only a fourth in Duluth, but he's winning here today. This is a guy who's actually changed up his routine. Instead of that big air we're used from Blair, he's actually making a more concerted effort to ride smooth, making the downside of the jumps. Concerted effort into those corners, driving in slow, driving out really hard. Now this course, it's a great one. A lot of snow, just like these sled riders love. It's a winter wonderland for Snowcross. And with more, Greg Creamer.
All right, thanks very much, Robbie. And here's the run down the start line. And as you can see, there's a good amount of chop at that point and heading into the finish line. Now, you come over that big finish line jump, you go through a couple of left-handers, and then that greeted by that huge whoop there. This is the minefield. There's a little right-hand kink, incredibly choppy back here, leads you back to that start line. This is the key spot on the track, and Morgan's been the guy who's been obviously doing an incredible job with it. Undefeated in the qualifying rounds. 3 guys getting 2 wins and a second. A lot of guys getting 1 win. But Mike Island second in that last run, not good enough considering his first 2 heats to even make the LCQ.
Look out for Pitlick, Kuster, and Crapo. It's the Pro Stock Final when we come back to Assiniboia Downs, the Canadian Open, when we return. Welcome back to Winnipeg, Canada, the second stop of the WSA Worldwide Tour, but don't miss stop number 3. It's Hill City, Minnesota, Park X for the 3rd stop. It is steeped in history. You can see it next Saturday, followed on Sunday and Tuesday for the years. You gotta love Hill City.
Now the return of the legendary Snickle Fritz downhill.
And this man is going to be tearing it up. Blair Morgan on that cold wave, Blair Morgan Racing Skidoo. This guy is untouchable today.
It's been unbelievable. He got a 4th, injured as he is in Duluth, and has gone undefeated in qualifying.
The 2003 Snowcross Rookie of the Year, Sean Crapo.
He actually made his mark last year, making a huge pass in Duluth on Tucker Hibbert, hired by Cat, coming off an injury last year. He's on fire.
Johnny Mold's really tough. He was injured the 2003 season, but he has a win, a second, and a third in Pro Stock qualifying for today. And Ken Ibsen, he still has a smile on his face from Duluth.
It's amazing. Ken Ibsen, that big win in Duluth, finally announced to the world he's back, and he is one of the true elite snowcross pilots going on.
The Ford Pro Stock Final, 16 laps on this very demanding Assiniboia racetrack. Again, I said normally thoroughbreds here, but those ponies are Skidoos, Arctic Cats, Polaris. They're about to tear it up.
This is a much rougher track than the oval here, too.
Let's see who gets the whole shot. It looks like Skidoo, the 7C of Blair Morgan out in front. Sean Crapo, the number 3 Arctic Cat, in second on the outside. Can he hold it?
Well, I tell you, this is exactly what Morgan needed to do. And I know I've been harping about it, but when he gets in traffic and he's not in control, a guy bumps him, he changes lines, that's when he has problems. But when he's out front like this, Robbie, he's just cooking it. TJ Gula has had an off.
TJ Gula goes down and down hard. Hopefully he's all right. Having problems in that first lap on the Polaris, but having no, whoa, little bar banging, little love tap there to get things going. Morgan, Sean Crapo in second. Let's take a look at who's back in that number 3 spot. It looks like the number 90.
Yep, Brad Pitlick, and the bumping, I believe, was Ken Ibsen. But while they were bumping and grinding, a guy named Ryan Simons came through, and we are under a yellow here. Ooh, that's Ryan Simons.
And boy, yellow flag is out. It looks like TJ Gula.
Uh-oh, we've got a potential situation here because Ken Ibsen going into that yellow zone was behind Simons. And when we picked him up, right as they went by Gula, Ibsen was in front. So, and that is absolutely against the rules.
We'll see how the officials or what they have to say about that. As TJ Gula is still down, he's off the track. And again, whenever a yellow flag is being waved, that is a signal to the riders. Do not pass. We have an injured rider down, and first and foremost is safety.
There's Blair Morgan continuing to lead out front. Crapo behind him there. You saw Gula in that last shot indicating his right lower back. He's been, he tweaked that a little bit in Duluth. And I think when he got pitched off this time, he probably aggravated it just a little bit. And there's Pitlick hanging on to third. And, you know, Brad Pitlick has historically been one of the fastest guys on a snowcross sled. 130 pounds is like a jockey, so it's fitting here. But if he's got any issues, it's later in the event. He's got an injured hand that doesn't have a lot of feeling or mobility in his left hand. And in fades a little bit near the end. Right now, he's looking awful good. That's Ibsen trying to chase him down.
Again, Blair Morgan's out in front trying to check things out. Ken Ibsen sticks a nose in, and can he make it? No, just shut the door a little bit. Brad Pitlick.
Oh, he squared up nice there.
Pitlick is just swerving left and right, saying, you're not getting by me. If you're going to do it, you're going to have to go the long way. You're going to have to go around on the outside. Brad Pitlick to the right, Ken Ibsen on the left. Ibsen sticks the nose in, but again, shuts the door. Pitlick is doing the right thing. If you're not faster, you better block like crazy. And it looks like Ken Ibsen is getting the black flag. The officials have said, yes, he did make a pass. And Ken Ibsen is a black flag recipient. That means that he must pull over for whatever reason. You've got to pull over.
Well, see, he's making that turn now and coming up toward the start stand. We'll see if the flag, there it is. You saw the black, and there's the black again. Holding it up, pointing it at the rider. Now, in Pitlick's defense, Ibsen's defense here, he's been making an outside move on Pitlick as they come to that jump, and he may be blind to that flag. He may not even see the starter, Wade Klenner.
So Brad Pitlick moves into the number 3 spot. We drop Ibsen back unofficially. Or I guess officially now.
Yeah.
He tried making a pass. The black flag is official as you're going to get. Is Blair Morgan our leader right now. So unfortunate for Ken Ibsen, the guy who won in that first stop at Duluth, takes the black flag. Now, if he pulls over and receives it, they can say, hey, you stop, and then they'll let him go again. But first he has to pull over.
Well, he's got to drop all the way to the back, but it still at least gives you some opportunity to do something. However, if you ignore that black flag, you're going to end up just disqualified, and that's what he's facing right now.
Now, what do you think Brad Pitlick is thinking? He's got to make sure, hey, am I getting that black flag? Or if he knows it's Ibsen, he's going, man, would you just get off my tail and let me, go? You're supposed to be stopping back there.
Well, the one thing Pitlick should be willing to do here is if Pitlick comes up and really starts beating on him, or if Ibsen comes up and starts beating on him, Brad should just let him go, just like that. So there's no point fighting with him. He's black flag. I know this is not for position. And once again, you see the officials getting pretty ardent here with this black flag. And now Ibsen's clear of Pitlick. He should have no problem seeing that black flag. We'll see what happens.
All right, Ken Ibsen is a lap down. Brad Pitlick is into that number 3 spot. Sean Crapo in second behind this man, Blair Morgan, 7C. The Coldway Blair Morgan Racing Skidoo is out in front. Sean Crapo on the factory Arctic Cat. Looks pretty good in that number 2 spot, but he's going to have to crack it up if he's going to get Blair Morgan. This is a 16-lap race. Anything can happen.
Sure, Morgan has actually opened that gap up just a little bit, and so that is exactly what he wants to do, have some sort of a buffer before he gets into lap traffic, which he certainly will. And in the back of that last shot, you can see that black flag and nobody between it and Ibsen. So we'll see what Ibsen does about it right now. He's just continuing to race, and I imagine he's going to try and argue it later, but it's to no avail. But now taking up the actual position challenge in Pitlick is number 67, Ryan Simons. And I'm telling you, folks, keep an eye on Ryan Simons. He's one of the semi-pros who's elected to run the semi-pro open, but then run pro stock. And he has shown blinding speed. And I watch him, and all of the adjustments he makes on those sleds when he's airborne, when something surprises it, kicks it weird, he ends up, it's automatic. The guy's got the gift, and he's got the pace. And once he gets the experience, I think Ryan Simons is going to be one of the big players at the very top of this sport.
I have to agree. The Ingolstadt Racing Arctic Cat does look good, number 67, but also looking very good and perfect on the day is Blair Morgan, number 7C. He won all 3 heat races he entered. Sean Crapo not doing too bad. He's in that number 2 spot. Now, Crapo had 2 wins in 1 second, so don't count him out. Now you're seeing Brad Pitlick, the number 90 Skidoo. Ryan Simons starting to charge hard now. Look at him diving to the inside, not able to make the pass.
Well, I think what he was trying to do is to get that cat rotated and then get to the throttle a little bit sooner and run down the inside of Pitlick. And as you pointed out, Robbie, Pitlick's like he's got eyes in the back of his head as he's been closing the door. So Simon says, fine, let's take it. Oh, and did Pitlick take the bait? But look at the repass, or at least the attempt.
Back and forth they go. Now Ryan Simons moves into the number, what is that, 3 or 4 position? Now that you got the black flag, I believe it moves him into the number 4.
Yep, 3rd spot, actually.
Yeah, because he drops Pitlick back to 4th. Yep. Carl Shubisky just behind in the number 5 position, and Shabinski's starting to stick a nose in there. The number 96 Polaris in that number 5 spot. He's charging hard, and he just showed up all of a sudden. So this is a guy who has worked his way up through the pack, who was actually in the number 8 spot on that first lap. So he's moving up. Now, Blair Morgan, let's talk about him as we see the gap starting to narrow a little bit. Sean Crable starting to close in. Blair Morgan is about to hit some serious lap traffic.
And that is where it can get interesting. Two things come into play. Again, Morgan in traffic. Instead of being his usual aggressive, bang off him, do whatever he needs to do to get by, he gives him a wide berth these days, which might slow him up. Secondly, his endurance, as we talked about. This is very late in the going here, and if there's anything that really is a problem for Blair right now because of his muscle loss and his lack of aerobic training, is endurance. So we're going to have to watch what happens here. Here comes Shabinski, giving number 90 Pitlick a little love tap.
A couple of laps remain for Blair Morgan. He's out in front. 2 laps to go.
You see the snow dust in front. That means he's now catching that traffic.
And it's not just one person. I'm here to tell you, there are 5 people in front of him. I mean, it was going to be a freight train, and he's got to be getting a little nervous now because you don't want to stick your nose in and shut yourself down.
Well, with 2 laps to go, you're absolutely right. And the 5 that are in front of him are working in their own battle. And so they don't just have to move over and let him slide through.
No, Kohanski's not giving him much love right there, but he's able to pick one of the 5 off. Who's next? I mean, it's a freight train.
Matt Judnick is the next guy, but you can see Matt is involved in a huge battle with an Amsoil Polaris and 2 other sleds. You see the edge of the blue flag, which is being shown to those guys to let him know that a faster guy is coming up, and along with that blue is the white flag. So this is it. There's Crapo.
White flag is out. Crapo a little more than 1/2 the race or the lap left on that back straightaway.
Oh, Morgan had a little problem there.
A little bobble hits that tabletop. He's very tentative though, but that lap traffic in front of him, and here comes Crapo. Crapo dives to the inside. Crapo with 2 turns remain looks over and says, "I got you." Can you believe that? Now it's going to be a drag race down this front straightaway. Greg Creamer, Sean Crapo makes the pass with 1 turn remaining. Hand up in the air, and boy, Blair Morgan goes, "You have got to be kidding me."
Unbelievable. Crapo snuck by him, 2 corners to go. It was incredible, but really I think traffic is what played this situation. As we go to the replay, there you see Judnick right in front. There's Crapo, the number 3. Now Morgan's going his normal high line, but look at Judnick. He drifts over, so instead of staying high, Morgan now crosses to the inside. Now watch the landing. He hit something, a little rut. See that?
A little cross.
It just scooted him. He had to muscle the sled back in. See, it hit that hole. He had to muscle the sled back up, and that killed his momentum. And here comes Crapo. As Crapo's got the run, Morgan goes high, boom, Crapo just jumps in, does a beautiful block pass. That's Morgan getting some of his own medicine, because he's the best at that. And watch this right here. It's all over. Crapo looks back, and I don't know whether he says, "Got ya," or whether he says, "I pulled it off."
Blair Morgan might be the veteran, but Sean Crapo just took him to school right there. That was a textbook move. As Sean Crapo takes the win, hand up in the air. But remember, Ken Ibsen, he won the first round in Duluth. He's saying, I should not have been black flag. I did what I was supposed to do.
No way, Titus, no way.
Now, Titus right there, that's our assistant race director, Blair Lavallee, and right there in the orange jacket is Nathan Titus, a racer of great, of course, they called him Title, he won championships, and he's now one of our race directors. Let's see if we listen in.
The guys to go down low. Yeah. No way, come on now.
That's Bubba, one of the team members.
Corner worker, Bodley's upstairs, and I saw the same thing. Going in the corner, you were behind Simons coming out of the corner. The sled was in the corner. Simons went high, you went low, you were behind Simons coming to the sled. When you came past the sled, you were in front of Simons.
Now, obviously, he's going to argue, but there is no doubt that was clearly a pass on the other.
Sean Crapo takes the win, followed by Blair Morgan, Ryan Simons, Brad Pitlick, and Carl Kuster. Now down to Jerry Bernardo with a very happy Sean Crapo.
The big story, first year as a pro, first pro win, you just chased down Blair Morgan, passed him on the last lap. Describe that emotion. I mean, I saw you pumped inside your helmet.
Yeah, I mean, got out to a good start and just held in behind him for the whole race till the last lap and kind of set him up and just blocked past him in that bottom corner and felt real good.
Last year, Rookie of the Year, now your first pro win here at Winnipeg. Congratulations, Sean.
Yeah, thank you.
John Crapo jumps his way into the series points lead with his first win of the year. Now he's 2 points ahead of Blair Morgan. That's it for the Pro Stock. When we come back, it's the Pro Open, the Bad Boys from Assiniboia Downs in Winnipeg, Canada. John Crapo jumps his Arctic Cat into the #1 spot and takes his first win of the year in the Pro Stock Final here at the Canadian Open.
And there is one class left, and it is Pro Open. This is the big boys. He's on that sled now. And Jerry alluded to it in the interview. He said he was last year's Rookie of the Year. He did that with an injury and missed 2 or 3 races and wasn't healthy for a lot of them.
He was injured in the first round in Duluth, Minnesota. But this is the second stop for 2004. It's the Canadian Open from Assiniboia Downs, Winnipeg, Manitoba, and Blair Morgan. Now it's time for the Pro Open. Is he fuming underneath that helmet? I seem to think he is.
Well, he had a 5th in that first round, and he had a win in the second round. It's all down to this round right here as to whether or not he even gets a shot at the LCQ.
And the most competitive round, Reimer, Mold, both Crapos, Gula, Trevor John, Blair Morgan. This is a tough field.
This is a final is what this is, and this is just for a qualifying heat.
Who is going to get that important hole shot? Looks like Earl Reimer got shut down on the inside. It looks like Blair Morgan and Gula goes down again.
Oh, man, if this guy doesn't have bad luck, he doesn't have any luck. He gets going again because he's trying to get the snow off his glove. He wasn't trying to neaten up his appearance there at all. And Reimer wasn't, I don't know whether he was involved, but he got, I'll tell you, the start is often the most dangerous part of a race because you're trying to squeeze a lot of guys into that small area and doing it on ever-changing conditions.
Earl Reimer, your winner at Duluth, has had to start at a very big disadvantage because Blair Morgan is over a half a lap ahead of him in that #2 spot. Curtis Crapo, but diving to the inside. It looks like Johnny Mold is leaning on it hard.
Jamming Johnny Mold, the young independent racer. He's had injuries the last 2 years. He's come back this year. He had him early in the season. He's come back this year, and he has been absolutely on fire. The fact that he hasn't been picked up as a factory pilot is just going to baffle me. The way he's been riding, somebody's got to give him an offer. There he is, and he is stoked.
The preferred paving skidoo of Johnny Mold, #280 in the #2 spot. Just behind him, Curtis Crapo, the other Crapo, as you would see it today, because his brother Sean just won the Pro Stock class. Now Curtis trying to step up to the Pro Open.
Absolutely, and there is a look at Sean Crapo, who once again did not get a great start, and he's tucked in right behind his brother, and they make the turn, and there goes Trevor John, I think, trying to mess him up.
Yeah, Trevor John takes one and looking to get by the other Crapo. Curtis Crapo, it's kind of tough calling him the other Crapo. He's the older one, he's the more experienced, but his little bro has the factory ride.
Well, in a sense, so does Kurt. He's certainly supported by the Arctic factory, but he's running for the Woodies team, which is a great program in its own right.
Trevor John sticking a nose in there, but it's still Blair Morgan out in front. Second spot, Johnny Mold. Curtis in the #3 spot, but here comes Trevor John on the outside, doing it the hard way.
What a pretty move. That outside lane just gave him a little bit more speed into the corner, and he got a nose in front of Kurt. Kurt couldn't block him out. He exited quicker than Kurt. Nicely done.
Look at this three-way battle for the #3 position. Trevor John in third. Fourth is Curtis Crapo. Sean Crapo in fourth. And boy, Team Arctic Cat is going, come on, boys, don't take each other out.
Well, exactly. I mean, they are all racing cats, but they're different teams, and so they're going to work each other over pretty hard. And, oh, look at this move. And Trevor's trapped on the inside. And look at Sean. Cut underneath.
Sean dives the inside. Curtis still holds on to the #3 spot, but Sean Crapo, here he comes into the #4 spot, and you saw how good he looked in that Pro Stock final. This is the heat race of the Pro Open. These machines will do exactly what they want to. I mean, these are very fine-tuned machinery.
Yeah, Trevor just ate a Crapo with it. And he ended up getting spit out the back. And look at this now, Sean coming up. He grabs third. Oh, and he almost threw that away.
Don't do a cross-up until after the checkered flag. Boy, we get a little crazy right there, but Sean Crapo moves into the #3 spot. A couple of laps remaining. They're chasing Blair Morgan and Johnny Mold, who are running away with this heat race, but this is almost like a final, as we mentioned just a moment ago.
unintentional tail whip there. And there's Trevor, and he's got more problems because not only have the Crapos gone by him, he's got busted Justin Tate coming up fast and hard to stern. He's really reeling him in.
The Ola Racing Arctic Cat of Trevor John trying to throw some roost on that Amsoil Polaris of Justin Tate. There's the finish line area. And boy, Justin Tate has worked his way through the pack. Trevor John is going, come on, where's that checker flag?
Yeah, and you watched him. He protected the inside big time that time. And we have, what, lap and a half to go here. So these guys are still a lot to go. Now, Sean Crapo, that is, has opened up a pretty good margin over his brother Kurt.
He looks fast, and he's looking for the first person to win 2 races in one weekend. But Blair Morgan, not too shabby himself. He won all his heat races in the stock, finished second in the stock final, and he looks pretty good in the open class, too. Very smooth.
Very smooth, but I'll tell you, the guy that's impressing me huge is Johnny Mold right here. He is still right on Morgan's tail, and in these heat races is where Morgan's shining. I mean, that's Morgan's roof that's coming over Mold. So, oh, look at this battle. Tate looks like he got him, Robbie.
In the 5th spot, Justin Tate moves by Trevor John as Blair Morgan takes another win on the day for him. He will be sitting pretty moving into that final, the Pro Open. 2nd spot, Johnny Mold. 3rd, Sean Crapo. 4th, Curtis Crapo. In 5th spot, Justin Tate, the Amsoil Polaris, works his way up to number 5. Trevor John looked good, but worked his way through the pack. Unfortunately, it was through the back.
And for Morgan, that win is huge for him to make the final. Let's go back and take a look at the Crapo sandwich. Kurt is the upper piece. There's the lower slice of Sean. And Trevor, he's filling.
We'll have more of the Pro Open when we come back to Canada. Stick with us. Welcome back to the Canadian Open. We are in the midst of our Pro Open racing. And it's time for this week's installment of Inside Cross with Greg Creamer. It's brought to you by Ride FX High Performance Shocks.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Inside Cross. You know, we're fast approaching the holiday season, and there's a lot of potential presents we might be looking for as that holiday season unfolds. We're looking forward to superstar C.W. Sergane coming from the semi-pro ranks, returning after his injury in Duluth. Kurt Peterson, same story, broke a couple ribs in Duluth. We're looking forward to him coming back on that bad number 11. What we're really waiting for is the return of Launch and Levi Lavallee. He practiced here in Winnipeg this morning. They anticipate a full return at Park X in the next round. And it was here in Winnipeg last year. He was the debut pro and showed he wasn't shy. Ask Tomiya Masalo. Well, he practiced today, and they anticipate a full return in Park X.
Well, here's a look at Park X, and you're going to be with us next Saturday, I'm sure, as Levi Lavallee will be in the mix. Stick with us, a Pro Open when we return. Glad you can stick with us here at the Canadian Open. You're taking a look at Sean Crapo, the Pro Stock champion from earlier today. But Greg, he wasn't in the Pro Open final at Duluth.
Yeah, he didn't make it to that final, so this race is huge for him. Now, Carl Kuster, the interesting thing, he's top qualifier, but he took a 3rd, a win, and a 2nd. And how sweet would it be for him to get his first ever Snowcross Worldwide Championship win right here at home in Canada? Great crowd on hand, and here's the qualifying results. As I mentioned, Kuster, the top qualifier, Morgan 2nd, but look way down in the order, Earl Reimer. He is still on fire in Pro Open. Yeah, he had that 8, but 2 wins. So he definitely has shown some speed, like he did as we go back 2 weeks ago. His first ever SWC win after years of trying. It was special.
I don't know if it'll ever happen again. When I keep trying, it's happened once, it could happen again.
Well, I'll tell you what, the way that Blair Morgan celebrated with him and the way that it made Earl Reimer feel, this guy is out for another one on home soil, and that final is next. Don't go away.
Welcome back to Winnipeg, and this presentation of WSA Snocross on OLN is brought to you by Bud Light. The great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light. Blair Morgan, the man to beat. He was out in front of 15 of 16 laps in that Pro Stock, but it was that 16th lap that was the determining factor.
You know, injury or not, that has him absolutely jacked. Now, here's Kurt Crapo, who put in a very strong run in his qualifying heat, so he's obviously looking for good things here at Winnipeg.
And the winner of Pro Stock, Sean Crapo, on the factory Arctic Cat, trying to make it 2 for 2 today and take the title in Winnipeg.
Well, he certainly has shown he's got the pace coming through the pack a couple times. Here's our starting lineup, and there's somebody to watch in the back row for sure. Two of them, Mike Island and Kent Ibsen, in back.
Waiting for that green flag. The start of our Pro Open about to get underway. They're off, and you want to be on that inside. Looks like Skidoo pushing them wide. Steve Martin had the whole shot, but did he drift too far?
Morgan got absolutely bottled up, and Sean Quapo is off.
Trying to restart that Arctic Cat. All right, he does get it going. Not too much of a loss. He sees them ahead of him. And Earl Reimer, last week's winner, goes down. The two favorites already out of it, or we say out of it, but we saw what happened in that first race.
He's going to be so far back. It's unbelievable. And finally, Gula gets a little luck. And Kuster, he used that lean over and dig the track into the snow, cornering approach really, and locking it into third. Got by Tate. What a good run.
Steve Martin is out in front right there, number 18. TJ Gula just behind, sticking a nose in on the inside, not able to make it stick right there. But Steve Martin looks very impressive. Right at number 18 out of Evanston, Wyoming on the Formula XPS Canoe. And here goes Gula.
Gula just had a little smoother line, exiting the hairpin and drove by him and got cleanly by before that right-hand king. And then Kuster just got him too.
Kuster goes to the inside, takes over position. And man, Carl Kuster is on the move right now. TJ Gula's out in front trying to check out. But man, look at those riders pounding in the face of those jumps.
Oh, there goes Ekstrom right around the outside of Martin. So Martin got the whole shot, Robbie, but he's fading.
Carl Kuster moving his way into the number 2 spot. Man, look how rough that course is when you see, and that is Snow Roost right there.
He got hosed. The only way to put it, he got slopped up big time. And you know, the guys will actually try to do that when you're out front.
Oh, yeah.
If you can gas it, especially that mod sled, just load the guy's goggles up behind you. Huge benefit to you.
Oh, DJ Ekstrom sticks his nose on the inside. And you can see how smooth he was in that one section. Just doubled up, made the downsize. Kuster, Ekstrom, second and third spot respectively is Skidoo, the Blair Morgan Racing Skidoo of Carl Kuster in the number 2 spot, the Amsoil Polaris of DJ Ekstrom, and Ekstrom looks to be charging hard. I like seeing the different lines as well.
I was going to say, they each have spots on the track where they're a little quicker. And Ekstrom comes out of that hairpin and down the back straight. He's got a real nice line back there. Kuster protects inside. Ekstrom goes for the cut under. But see, Kuster's got that speed around that outside berm. But watch Ekstrom here. He's very smooth.
But you can't later. Kent Ibsen goes down, and that sled looks to be in trouble. The yellow flag's going to be waving. And again, these guys are really paying attention now, because remember what happened to Ibsen in that first race. Is Ibsen's down, but now it's the other guys have to watch out for his yellow
flags. Absolutely. He looks okay. That sled augered in pretty awkwardly, so it's good to know he's okay. And going back just a little bit in the pack here, that is Justin Tate and Blair Morgan. And Morgan got trapped on the outside of that hole shot, and they're way in the back. And Ibsen, he just gets to sit there and stand there actually, and just watch some racing unfold. That's awful tough.
Second, third spot, Carl Kuster. Dennis Ekstrom, DJ, as we like to call him, in that number 3 spot on the Amsoil Polaris. 2 Skidoo side by side, and it looks like Blair Morgan able to make the pass on Steve Martin. Martin dropping back, so got a good start, but again, works his way through the pack. Unfortunately, it's backwards.
Well, it's his first year as a pro. He's a rookie pro, and this is schooling. It's basically what's happening. There's Ekstrom in third. You saw Gula, and there's the gap back to Ekstrom in third with Kuster in between.
Johnny Mold in the number 4 position. Steve Martin in 5th, and the number 28, rounding out the top 6, is Justin Tate.
What a great weekend again Mold is having. I'm just very impressed with Johnny. Here he is on that independent preferred paving Skidoo, and he is playing with the big boys and doing it with ease at this point. We've still got 9 laps to go.
9 laps remaining. It's a 16-lap final here in the Pro Open. These are modified sleds. I mean, these are some bad boys, over 170 horsepower. Rider down, and Morgan lands on the top of Johnny Mold.
Morgan totally misjudged that, I'm guessing. I think he thought Mold would be taking a little tighter line into the corner, and he hit that bump and it kind of angled left on him. He put a ski right on Mold's back, and both are up. I tell you, WSA requires body armor underneath all that gear, and you just saw why. That is exactly what it's all about. Let's go back and take a look at it, and you see, there's Morgan angling toward the turn. You see how Mold kind of scooted out on him? Bang!
Well, I'll tell you what happened. Mold did not triple in or double into the turn that time. He doubled up. As you know, there are no air brakes on these sleds.
Oh, no.
Morgan he could do nothing when he's in the air.
Nope, he just misjudged it a little bit. Mold sort of surprised him, and like you said, when you're airborne, whatever happens, happens. But Booster has closed up on Gula big time.
TJ Gula out in front, Carl Kuster in the number 2 spot. You're exactly right. Look at that. And now Carl's saying, all right, I have lap traffic ahead. And it's always tough for TJ Gula. When you're in front, you're the first guy that comes into that lap traffic.
Always easier to chase, they say. Now, the one thing about Gula, as we're watching Kuster with a good run here, remember, TJ's filling in for Levi Lavallee. He's a guest rider on that sled. He's going to be going to Rock Maple Racing for the rest of the season after the New Year's break. But while Levi was hurt, they brought TJ in to run the sled. Boys, talk about filling in. Super sub.
He might ride that series, but if he has results like he's doing right now, he might stay in this one.
Yep, right there. You see that little bit of a bobble, and he just very calmly reacted to it. And remember, he got hurt. Remember that crash earlier, and he was, pointing to his back, and he was sore from a crash in the loop. So, he's off. He's off. He's just hanging there.
Oh, man.
Oh, and he's not moving either.
Going down. Hopefully everything is all right. Might have had a little contact when Kuster got by.
Yeah, it was tough to see because Kuster, we were on the other side of Kuster's sled. But he looked kind of ragdoll before he even went, fell off the sled completely. We'll have to see.
Let's take a look at what happened here. He looks all right there, lands on the downside, but I think it's right here. He takes off a little crooked.
Yeah, you see it rotating. He lands on the back, and that jolts him, and he comes off, and he's just being dragged along there, and then Kuster goes by.
You see his body.
Yep. Watch the movement. Kuster just must have clipped him and got him in the helmet, and I think he rang TJ's bell pretty good.
That's why you wear protective equipment, ladies and gentlemen. Any type of racing, even recreational riding, I suggest you do that, because if he did not, I don't even want to think about it right there. Hopefully everything will be all right. But right now, Carl Kuster is out in front, leading this one. It's our Pro Open final, and the Blair Morgan Racing Skidoo looking good.
Looking awfully good. There's the margin. There's DJ Ekstrom on the Amsoil Polaris in second spot right now with 4 to go. And so DJ, there's lots of racing to go, but DJ has got to amp it up big time if he's going to have a chance to catch Kuster.
Justin Tate in the number 3 spot. Mike Island moves up into the 4th. Tommy Amasalo into the number 5 spot. But Justin Tate trying to put some pressure on his teammate, DJ Ekstrom, just in front of him. Tate has worked his way up through the pack.
Yeah, from deep in the pack. And I'm going to say here, how sweet will it be for Shearing's Amsoil team to put 2 of their guys in the top 3 on the podium? Kuster and then those 2, assuming everything stays put. But as we were talking about, Kuster, he has never won a Snowcross Worldwide Championship race before.
Don't throw any bad.
I don't want to jinx him. But man, to get that first win in Canada, essentially, in front of the home crowd, man, how sweet.
Yeah, don't throw any bad mojo his way. You know how these guys, he's probably wearing the same underwear he wears every weekend.
Hey, that's King Carl Kuster. 2-time Hillcross gold medalist. Look at what we got going here. Sean Crapo coming after Martin.
Steve Martin in 7th spot. Sean Crapo in the number 8th position. And Sean crashed on that first lap, worked his way all the way up into the number 8 spot. A very respectable position. Nice knocking on the door.
The one thing that impresses me about Sean is there is no quit in him. He doesn't look at something and go, you know what, this is pointless, I'm just going to doodle around. He'll go and try and move up and get maybe even 2-3 spots because those points are valuable. Look who's coming with him, Earl Reimer.
And there's one spot right there. Now Sean Crapo on the factory Arctic Cat moves into the number 7 spot. So Crapo moves all the way up into 7th. Earl Reimer has moved up into 9th. Never give up.
No, absolutely not. We saw that out of Earl and Duluth, and you're seeing it again. There's your margin, 1st to 2nd. There's Tate 3rd, and they're on the last lap. What a story this will be. A first-time winner and a team getting the next 2 spots on the podium.
Carl Kuster, 47C. He wants to see that checkered flag. One more turn remains, and he will do that.
What a great story, Kuster. Always in Morgan's shadow and steps out of it firmly today.
Yes, no longer in the shadow. A little cross-up. Carl Kuster, the Pro Open champion here at the Canadian Open. Very befitting. A Canadian rider takes the win.
You realize we've had 2 first-time winners today. Sean Crapo got pro stock.
Sean Crapo moves his way all the way up into the number 7 spot.
Great ride.
Yes, very impressive. But Carl Kuster was the story today. He takes the win. And DJ Ekstrom and Tate, the Polaris teammates of that AMSOIL team, are 2nd, 3rd, respectively. But the day goes to Carl Kuster.
You bet. King Carl Kuster. He got that name from his Hillcross exploits, but boy, he's showing he deserves it here. And look at the form. Little tail whip.
Little Supercross flavor right there, crossing it up. We might see him in freestyle. As we take a look at our results, it is Kuster followed by Ekstrom, Tate, Mike Island, very respectable 4th, Tomiyama Salo on the Formula XPS machine in 5th. Now down to Jerry Bernardo with our winner.
Now the Blair Morgan crew is beaming with the big mod winner, Carl Kuster. Listen, you got out there, you had a little bit of a chase going on behind TJ Gula. Unfortunately, crashed, went down, then you moved in the lead. A little heat coming from behind from TJ Ekstrom. Did you feel it?
Yeah, I could hear him in the back there a little bit, and we were just trying to ride my own race, and I was trying to have some fun out there. And I don't know if you can tell on the TV or not, but it's extremely tough to see all the deep bumps that are out there, so it was pretty good.
Representing for Canada, in Canada, good job.
Oh yeah.
Carl Kuster takes the Pro Open final. Let's take a look at results from the Pro Stock. Overall, your leader is Sean Crapo after the win today, followed by Morgan, Simons, the semi-pro in 3rd, Pitlick, and Ekstrom.
And in the Pro Open point lineup, Kuster with his win takes the lead. Ekstrom 2nd. Reimer, though, still there in 3rd.
WSA Snocross is produced by Windfall Productions. You can check us out on the web at oilntv.com.